every hour of every day she spent at the large financial institution where she works as an auditor.
You have to have these two separate lives.
Her life at home, where she was her whole self, and her life at work, where as the only Black person in her department, the mask rendered her a shadow of herself.
There's already an idea of who you are. You have to always be conscious of how you present to other people.
Hands up!
Am I being too loud? Am I fitting into very specific stereotypes? If I come in and say, you know, I'm having a hard day. I don't even know if I want to be here right now because another Black person just got murdered. I don't think people really have the capacity to take on someone else's energy.
Would you call it isolating?
Most definitely.
It's an isolation that is painfully familiar to people of color in the workplace, from encountering racist jabs known as microaggressions to being overlooked for promotions. But some of that changed when the pandemic hit. A survey by the Slack think tank Future Forum found that Black employees experienced less stress and their sense of belonging skyrocketed 50% once they started working from home.
Slack survey finds 97% of Black knowledge workers want the future of the office to be remote or hybrid. Not surprising. I think people having gone through this past year and experiencing the constant cuts from microaggressions and the fatigue of living through the pandemic are just tired. And to go back to what they knew after having experienced some level of relief, they'll want to go back to that.
For Tisha, working from home wasn't just an escape. It was a chance to be herself.
It was great to be in this sea of people.
To march with her family after George Floyd was killed.
Wanting to see change.
To unmask herself at work.
I volunteered and said, at where I work, I would like to do this. I wrote an article. The title of the article is Why is Self-Reflection Not Enough? Self-reflection is not enough if you want to be an ally.
What was it like bringing that part of yourself to your professional environment when that's normally not something that you do?
I think it was that gate that needed to be opened. I do a lot of things outside of work, but then doing it at work really did help me bring more of myself forward because I don't want to wear a mask. I do want to be my full authentic self. I want to be able to show up in any space with any person and be Tisha, 100%, all the way through.
That Slack study concluded in order to give Black employees a greater sense of belonging, employers should embrace flexible work as part of their central principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
We're hearing from a former Tesla employee who sued and won a discrimination lawsuit against the automaker. ABC News reporter Rebecca Jarvis has more on the racial abuse he endured.
We just want to be just treated and seen as equal human beings.
This morning, a former Tesla contract worker speaking out after a San Francisco federal court decided the electric car maker must pay him $137 million over claims he suffered racist abuse at the company. Owen Diaz, who was hired through a staffing agency in 2015 as an elevator operator at Tesla's factory in Fremont, told the court he faced a hostile work environment where employees drew swastikas and racist graffiti on bathroom stalls, where coworkers told him to go back to Africa, and ethnic slurs were heard routinely. Diaz says nothing was done to stop it, quitting after roughly 1 year on the job and ultimately suing.
They decided not to follow through. They decided to kill investigations. You know, you can't keep treating workers like this.
Now, Tesla, whose founder and CEO is Elon Musk, ordered to pay Diaz $130 million in punitive damages and $7 million in emotional distress, an unprecedented amount for racial discrimination cases.
A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. They have to choose to take the abuse that these billion-dollar companies are putting out or feed their families.
In an internal email to employees Monday following the verdict, posted on the company's website. Tesla's VP of People writing, although the facts they have of the case don't justify the verdict reached by the jury in San Francisco, we do recognize that in 2015 and 2016, we were not perfect. We're still not perfect, but we have come a long way from 5 years ago.
Hopefully it will make them change and make other companies change and realize racist conduct has no place in the workplace.
Particularly in job situations, they set black people up. One thing, many white supremacists have concluded that in most cases, or in many cases, black people, non-white people, act according to their emotions. So they know what buttons to push. They just about know when they're going to fire you and how they're going to go about doing it, because they know when they're going to make you angry. They know how to make you angry. They know how to make you laugh. They know how to get you to relax. They know how to get you uptight. So they say, okay, well, we're going to get rid of that fella today. So we'll have him come in, and we'll start telling him this and telling him that and whatnot. We got our own strategies and whatnot. And we have been studying him, and we know that he has a temper. So at this point, this one thing, because white supremacists always study their victims, and they know more about their victims than the victims know about themselves, all right? The white supremacists know more about me than I will ever know about myself, all right? They make it their business to do that. So they can kind of predict behavior. And in job situations, when they get ready to get rid of a non-white person, they'll say, hey, what we'll do, we'll make him mad, because we know what will make him mad. So, about 9 o'clock today, when he does this and whatnot, you go over and say to him this, and this. Now, that'll get him angry, and he's going to immediately blow up. He's going to start calling names and all like that. And today, by 5 o'clock, he'll be fired. So we'll just set him up for that. He'll walk right into the trap. He won't be expecting it. And this happens all the time.
Yes.
See what I mean? So non-white people should be aware of this. When they get ready to get rid of you, everything is just fine, but now he's got a cousin that needs your job, and he says, hey, well, Henry, that black guy down there, he's got that position, and he's doing an excellent job and all like that. Say, well, but my cousin needs that job. So how are we going to get rid of Henry and do it all nice and neat? Say, well, we'll make him angry. So you know how these people are. They always got a chip on their shoulder and whatnot. They always want somebody to respect them.
Mm-hmm.
They're real big on respect. So you say something that sounds like you're disrespecting him, he's going to go off. It's not going to be disrespect, because these black people don't even know what respect is. See, they just know what we have told them.
So they set them up, huh?
They don't have a definition for respect.
Mm-hmm.
They think they do. Okay, so we'll have them play in our hands, just like they do with everything that we relate to them. That's why we are dominant. That's why we are white supremacists, and that's why they're always victims, because they do not think ahead. They only think about how they feel at the moment, and we'll always use that against them, because they're very emotional people. They fly off the handle real quick. See what I mean? But you got to know what buttons to push, and we know what buttons to push because we understand them better than they understand themselves.
You're being set up. Yeah.
When you run the kindergarten, you know your children, all right? And that's what the white supremacists look at the whole world of non-white people. They say, we know how to move these people around. They don't even know they're being moved around. We know how to, set them up for make them laugh like you wouldn't believe. And we know how to make them mad. Just have them, storming around the place, knocking things over. We know how to do that. See, so we'll just orchestrate it. Anytime we want them to do anything, we know how to handle them. They don't know anything about how to handle us, even though they think they do. That's why they're in the position that they're in, and we're in the position that we're in. We're white supremacists, and they are victims of white supremacy, just like all their ancestors, because they didn't know anything either.
In a socio-material system dominated by racist white supremacists, all jobs that are established and or maintained by white people are dominated either directly or indirectly by those white people who practice racism, white supremacy. No person can be hired, fired, promoted, and or get in trouble on a job unless it is the will of the white supremacists. In addition, there is no such thing as a non-white person being a supervisor on a job in any socio-material system that is dominated by white supremacy. Only white people are supervisors. Non-white people, however, may have a supervisory title, but in truth, only serve as messengers or carriers.